Hi, how are you, Marilise?
I'm so good, thank you, Nadine. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm so glad to be here with you this morning. And this morning, it's such a habit to say this morning. And it's like, what time is it now? 1 minute, 1 minute
Definitely close to
before.
midnight. It's almost dark.
Isn't it funny? Like, I've got such a habit of doing this show in the morning that I just go, good morning. But it's not morning, it's the afternoon. So
Well, it is morning in the US, and you probably have a lot of US
I
watchers.
do actually
So,
have a lot of US watchers as well. It is US morning in the US, but I was really happy when I put this out, and somebody, one of my friends, said, Steph, she wrote on my wall and she said, "Oh my God, that's the woman that wrote Raw." I've read it, and my daughter's now reading it too. So have you got a copy of the book that we can look at?
yes, I do. Well, I always do. Let me just find it.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, it's just behind me.
that's all right.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to do impromptu. Yeah, so
Oh,
that's
wow. I love it. It's got a lion on it. I love that.
the
Oh,
And the
beautiful.
back is beautiful too, because raw is all about speaking your truth, finding your voice, finding your raw,
Yeah,
and it's that sort of authentic voice. So
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Oh, that's fantastic. So good afternoon, everybody. I've got it right this time. Hi, I am Nadine Benjamin, and I am a certified high performance coach, a neuro-linguistic mind coach. And what does that mean? So neuro, the brain; linguistic, how we speak to the brain, and the programming of the brain, the paradigms or the different patterns that we set up. I'm also an international soprano, singing all over the world, and I love it. And I really love, my heart, my soul is about connecting, championing, and celebrating people. And today we're here to celebrate Marilise de Villiers, the founder and CEO of MDVB Consulting. She is a mindset and performance coach, best-selling author, and people and change leader. In 2017, Marilise had a successful corporate career, yet was feeling exhausted, without purpose, and missing out on life with her family. Determined to enjoy the success she had earned, she learnt to create a deeply balanced life that is also highly successful. Marilise believes that an organization can only become truly successful by investing heavily in its people and creating safe and inclusive environments where everyone can thrive, be at their best, and make their organization more resilient. Her book, as we saw, Raw: How to Tame the Bully Inside and Out, is a culmination of 20 years of research and first-hand experience. It is an inspirational story about her personal journey in learning how to deal with the bully in her life, discovering the power of her voice, and finding her raw. She is passionate about helping the aspiring female executive get the career she wants without sacrificing her health, relationships, and happiness. Her motto is work hard, play hard, and be kind. Oh, so lovely, Marilise. Thank you for being here. And hi, everybody. I'm sure we're in a time before Christmas, and Marilise has her Christmas jumper on. I'm sorry, I haven't. So it's great that you've got your Christmas jumper on.
Especially for you.
Thank
I do
you.
not actually wear Christmas jumpers as a rule, so
But we're here this week. I'm here with loads of coaches because we really felt that it was important to start elevating frequency. Coming into what is perceived as the third lockdown now, we just really want to make sure that people stay elevated and stay in a really high frequency and just have a different way of doing things and different ideas of how to approach things. Neither Marilise and I are doctors or psychiatrists. So please, if you need any of that kind of support, please make sure that you pick up the phone and stay connected in that space, because and if you know somebody who needs support around that, please pick up the phone to them and make sure that they're okay, or send them a message or a text or a voice message, anything, because there's so many ways to communicate. Marilise, from a high performance perspective, we're here. which is really lovely. And I'm really grateful that you could spend the time with us. So can you define your version of high performance?
So I guess it came out in my bio already, but it's that idea that you can only be truly successful if you're also fulfilled,
Mm,
and you're healthy.
mm,
And, I think for me, that's sustainable
mm.
success with health, with happiness, with amazing relationships,
Yes.
is my definition of high performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you're talking about that sustainability, being able to keep it consistent, which is also
Yeah.
really, 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 really important. So, in terms of that, then, what makes you a high performer?
So I guess I've learned the hard way that success without fulfillment,
Mm,
in my case, led me to burnout. So
mm,
I was in a very dark place about 3 years ago, where
mm,
I was successful in my career, but I was
mm,
unhealthy
mm,
mentally and physically. I'm
mm.
really struggling. And my relationships with the people I loved the most were hanging by a thread.
Yeah.
So I have realized and discovered the value
Mm,
of implementing high performance habits in my life, and
yeah.
as a certified high performance coach,
Yeah.
we teach those habits, and we've
Yeah.
also got to role model and show up as our best selves
Absolutely.
every day.
Mm,
So it is always a work in progress. There's always something more to work towards, but it is that sort of, you know getting a grip on the productivity,
mm.
showing up every day fully present, vibrant, fully engaged, and doing that consistently. I think coming back to that word consistency
Yeah.
is so important, because we're going to have bad days, right?
Yes,
You're allowed to
exactly.
have a bad day, but
Yeah,
then if you can come back to it quickly and not go into that sort of spiral of
yeah,
days and weeks of
yeah,
beating yourself up about it. I think that was one of the biggest lessons that I learned, was
yeah,
not to beat myself up when I fall off the wagon, just to get
yeah.
back on straight away.
Yes, I really love that. Not to get straight back on the wagon, and that thing of having set up a plan or a schedule or
Yeah.
something to be able to come back to, or even a vision or a dream to be able to come back to be able to reset the self. I think it's really important. I always say to people say, "Oh, but you're a high performance coach. It's easier for you. Or you're an NLP coach. It's easy for you." And I said, "No, it's not actually easier for me. What it is that I just have a few more tools in the box. I've got
Mhm.
this treasure chest that I can go to that can get me out of stuff quicker."
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think this is where we, as especially as coaches, as high performance coaches, we have quite a high standard to abide by. And
Yes.
it isn't always, we also just human beings, and we also
Yes.
have times where, especially this year, I mean,
Yeah.
COVID has been such a test for all of us. And
Yeah.
I've had, 6 months ago, I've had to really, really work very hard on my
Mm.
mindset, and catching that conversation that was going on in my head, because it got really quite negative at times. And as you say, having the tools then to interrupt that conversation and to
Yes.
change the conversation is helpful, but you're still going through it. You still have to do the work.
And I love that what you're talking about. And I'm going to ask this question because I think you're going into it now, but what does psychology mastery mean to you? And I love that, interrupting the pattern. We have to
Yeah.
come to a place where we do interrupt the pattern. So yeah, what does psychology mastery mean to you?
So for me, I always say, and this is again something I had to learn the hard way, but
Mm.
there are only four things that you can control: are your thoughts, your feelings, and your words and your actions.
Yeah.
And that for me is psychology wrapped up: thoughts,
Yeah.
feelings, words, and actions.
Yeah.
And the main thing here is how do you control that, so that it's almost like those are your four superpowers. So how do you
Yeah.
turn those four things into your superpowers,
Yeah.
so that you can really show up as the best version of you every day?
Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of psychology mastery, that meaning to you, how does it show up in your life?
So I guess it is absolutely. So I've had to learn in my life, and this is something from my childhood as well, to really interrupt that pattern,
Mm.
of self-destructive thoughts, of limiting beliefs, that self-sabotage. I've had quite a history. I mean, some people who have read my book will know my story, but I had almost like a 15-year history with the eating disorder, and
Oh, wow. Yeah,
it actually landed me in rehab.
yeah,
And it was in rehab when I learned the power of the mind and the power of our thoughts and the conversation we're having. So it's so important to interrupt, those negative thoughts, and
yeah,
obviously thoughts, feelings,
yeah,
which comes first. You never quite know. It's milliseconds, but
yeah.
it doesn't really matter. It's interrupting those thoughts and those feelings, and really honestly sort of saying, is it true? Or is
Yes.
this the truth? How do I
Yeah.
know this is true? And really challenging that conversation.
Yeah, I really, and it's, I really love that you've been really open about being in rehab, because, there's a lot of people that are going through different forms of addiction that are coming up because of, the place that we're in.
Yeah.
I was also in rehab for a month, but mine was for getting sober, and I'm now 20 years sober, so I feel very blessed. Yeah, it's a day at a time, isn't it? But it's that those thoughts, those feelings, those words, those actions. Could you talk a little bit more around that? Like if you were working with a client, how, in terms of psychology mastery, how that would work for them and you?
So I think one of the key things that I normally look out for is the language that they use. So
Yeah.
if there's a language around, I always do this or I never do this, I'm like, actually, that's not true. It's up until now, this has not been something that you've been able to do.
Yeah.
But when you say up until now, you're actually telling your brain that it's not going to be like that going forwards. So
Yes.
there's a pattern that you're interrupting to tell yourself, up until now, this has been the case. Going forward. So it's this whole concept of changing the past. I always say delete the past
Yes.
because you're not defined by your past.
Mm.
It's that looking ahead and being present, but looking to the future.
Yeah.
And another one would be, to listen to that conversation.
Yeah.
I think there's really important to recognize there's always a part of you that do know the answer. So
Yeah.
we're very quick to say, oh, I don't know.
Yes.
But actually, there is a part of you that does know. There's a higher self. There's a magnificent being that does
Yes.
know. But you've got to tap into that.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I think I really love that. I completely love that about tapping into, and I suppose when we're tapping into, we're also tapping into that fulfillment as well,
Yeah,
aren't we?
absolutely.
Tapping into the door of fulfillment almost. So if you were to give people like 3 tips in terms of how they would master their psychology, what would you give them?
I think it's recognizing that awareness. I think awareness is the very, very first step. That
Hmm.
there is a conversation going on. That there are two parts. There are two conversations going on,
Yeah,
and it's almost like turning up the volume on the positive conversation,
yeah,
the empowering conversation, and really try to tune down the volume on the self-destructive thoughts, on
yeah,
the negative conversation, the sabotaging conversation that's going on. But
yeah.
you need to have that awareness in order to interrupt
Mm,
it. And the quicker you can interrupt it, the quicker you can get yourself back on a path, and on a positive path, on a positive sort of trajectory. Oh, I can't
yeah,
pronounce
yeah.
it.
I do that a lot.
So the awareness, because I always say awareness gives you choice.
Yes,
Um,
yes, nice.
and that's important, right?
Mm.
Because choice then can change the future. The
Yeah.
choice that you then have to make a different decision and a better decision
Mm.
can then create an amazing future for you, right?
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
so that's the first thing, and I would say then something that I do a lot on a daily basis is then once you have that awareness and you interrupt that pattern, what is the positive affirmation?
Yeah,
What is the new conversation, the new identity that you want to step into,
yeah,
and to really then embrace that new identity, So I had this limiting belief of I'm not enough.
Mm.
Over my whole life until about, I mean, even up until this year when I published my book, I had this moment of, oh my gosh, is this it?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and I had to really, on a daily basis, and I have this on my wall. So the simple fact that I care, that I want to do my best, that I strive to enjoy life and love, this makes me so much more than enough.
Oh,
I
I love
remind
it.
myself every day, and this is Brendan, right? Our mentor,
Yeah,
Brendan
yeah,
Richard,
yeah.
and this is so important to me because that's the single biggest limiting belief that I've had all my life.
It's lovely that you talk about, that I am not enough. I suggest to mentees to actually write that on their mirror, because Marissa Peers gave that as a thing.
Yeah.
But, and I just suggest to them that write it on your mirror so you can see it every day. And it really works for some people. It's a really motivation activation for them, and also affirmations. I think affirmations are so important in terms of the thought processes that are going off in our head, and also a great way to interrupt patterns, as you were just talking about.
Yes.
And one of mine, I got up this morning, and even myself, I was like, I am ready. This is a Florence Scovel Shin. I am ready for the divine design of my life.
Awesome. Love it. Love it.
Whatever that was today, I just knew that I was ready for that divine design. I'm not interested in making something or trying to control anything today. I'm just ready for the divine design. I'm listening, I'm surrendering, I'm here. How do you want me to show up? I'm ready, and that was a really lovely way to just let go today, for me. So yeah, so what would your third one be then?
The third one then is action.
Yes.
Because you've got to take action in order to change anything. You've got to take action, and this is where I love Tony Robbins has a model which he calls the momentum model, and he's massive on action.
Yes.
But action without the belief and the certainty that you can do it, which is again, it's the power of the mind, the mind over the matter. Is if you don't have that certainty or that belief, you are going to get mediocre results.
Yes,
because your action is not going to be massive and full on. I don't know what the word is, but I'm looking for.
No, but say it again. I want you to say that again, because that's really important piece of information you're giving there.
So it's that taking massive action with that certainty and that belief behind you, because we all have infinite potential.
Yes,
and we have to believe it, and then you will get the results. And it links with your affirmation around surrendering and then stepping into that sort of divinity, if you like, because you then it will come to you. It's that sort of whole law of attraction, isn't it?
Oh, it's such a beautiful law of it. I just believe that. I tell you one place though, I'm going to be really, really, really open up in this space right now, because I know that people do need to hear this. Leah Schenk Crown, an amazing soprano, is saying, I am enough. This phrase took me 15 years to say. Once I did it, it changed my life for the better. Amen to that, Leah.
Amen.
So please, if you've got anything to say to Marilise while she's here, please send in your questions. And if she can answer them, she will. So please, please, please. So don't sit on the side there. If you want to ask her a question to this fabulous woman, then please do. But I'm severely dyspraxic, and one of the things around being severely dyspraxic and singing for me came up this year, just recently, in fact, just a week ago, actually. And that thing of talking, the belief that you can do it, the belief of your thoughts and the belief of your actions. Wow, Marilise. Where I was tested like I've never been tested before, because I was doing 2 roles, and I believed that I could do them, and I'd set my bar, I'd set a goal for how I wanted to do this, and I have this hidden disability that nobody actually takes seriously because you can't see it.
Wow.
So I'm then having to manage that on my own in a way that manage my thoughts, come home and manage my thoughts. and manage all the actions. There's like 100 actions that I had to do all at the same time in a very short time base. And I just knew, I have to say, Marilise, that if I hadn't had the skills that I have as a coach, if I don't have a coach, because I was being coached all week as well myself, because I like to make sure that, you know, I'm a coach, but I also need a coach.
100%.
I'm a high performer.
Yes.
So I need someone that's going to keep me accountable to that high performance so I can serve in that way. Yeah. And I just, you know, like it really made me so grateful for the tools of high performance, so grateful for psychology mastery in itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to be able to show up to someone and say, oh, I need more time with this, or can you coach me more on this, or actually I'm feeling a bit wobbly here, or, you know, or actually can I not sing, and can you sing this bit for me, because I need to see if I can assimilate all of this in my head. You know, so I really identify with what you've just said there, because I was tested last week.
And this is a classic example of you're always work in progress. You know, there's always the next level to aspire to. Yeah. So yes, and that's the beauty of personal development. You know, I'm such a geek when it comes to, you know, my own development, and I invest so much time in my own development, because I know that I'm always a work in progress, and the most important project that I'll ever work on is me.
Yes, I love that. I really, really love that. So if you were to, just because we're in these times of pandemic and we're in London, and well, I'm not in London, but we are in the UK in itself, and all over the world is having these moments of we're in our house, we're not in our house, it's Christmas, we're not going to be able to spend time with our families and stuff like that. In the sense of high performance and psychology mastery, is there anything that you could say to people that you think, oh, actually people might want to hear this right now? I know this is a random question, I just felt it in the moment, so I
absolutely do, because I'm all about kindness, but kindness to self first and foremost. So I would first of all, I would say it is okay not to be okay. And to really honor and feel the feelings, and not to judge yourself, because we're all really just trying to survive at the moment, you know. And some of us are thriving, but those people are few and far between. I think the majority of us are really just surviving. And so it's okay not to be okay. And I think I would say also, what helps is if I can do something good for someone else, if I can reach out to someone else, if I can put a smile on someone else's face, that makes me feel so much better. So if you are feeling very down, and, you know, not necessarily, you know, feeling like you want to engage with anybody, almost go against your intuition. Trust your intuition, or I want to say, is it your intuition? Is it not your intuition? But almost, I want to say, force yourself to just reach out to somebody, because somebody needs to hear your voice, and somebody needs to hear your, you know, have a smile put on their faces. Sorry, I'm struggling to express myself here, but I think you get the
of course. I really, you know what, I'm gonna, if you don't mind, one of the ways, because you're tapping into something that I always say, is if you have low self-esteem, one of the best ways to work with low self-esteem is to do esteemable acts.
That is amazing. That is so much, but that's exactly what I wanted
to say. I know exactly. I know. So I'm just mirroring what you're saying in just it's esteemable acts, and those esteemable acts come out of kindness for yourself and for others. Look, you're forever the coach. Look, have you noticed, everybody? This is what we do as coaches. When we hear something that we love, we immediately
100% immediately write it down. Write
it out, because what that means, like, I love that you're a coach like that, Marilise. Like, you know, anybody who gets coached by you is going to be just so lucky, because you know, a coach that shows you that, I love that you, and I'm highlighting it because you're showing it, you know, but a coach that shows you that immediately as they get a piece of gold, they write down the gold because they know that they can use that gold somewhere else to give gold to someone else. You know,
100%.
that is someone inside high performance.
Yes.
That's what it is. They're not waiting to be till we finish to be given permission to do it. They're like, no, this got to go down now.
Yes, absolutely. Write it down.
Yeah, I do. I
Such
love
a habit,
that.
but this is such a habit for me. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
even think about being on camera and being
Yeah.
live. I was like, I'm going to write this down now.
Yeah, well, exactly. And, you know, it's like Brendan, our mentor always says, you know, he sat and he wrote, he'd have notepads filled with other speakers and people that he'd listened to along the way, because he knew that this information was gold and that he would want to use it for himself and to change his life and the way that he speaks. And this is the other thing, is the way that we speak. And you touched on this, Marilise, about the words that come out of our mouths.
Yeah.
You know, is monitoring those thought processes, you know, when we get new language, to write down the new language so we can start to use the new language. It's really, really, really important. But you've been so wonderful. It's been so wonderful to have you here.
Thank you
today.
so much for having me. I was so grateful to be invited. Thank you, Nick.
Not at all. So can you tell us, where can we find you? We've seen your book Raw. Show it up again so we can see it again. I love celebrating people, especially when they've done that. Yeah, roar! And I love that. What I really loved is that, you know, like I said, my dear friend, when she said, you know, my daughter Bailey is also reading that as well. I mean, I just thought that was just so, from mother to daughter, that there was this, that you've been able to touch lives like that, Marilise.
Oh, and I'm so grateful for that myself.
And and it's intercrossed between generations. You know, that really shows the authenticity of the work that you did. And I just want to honour that, because, you know, it was really beautiful to hear my friend Stephanie say that, you know, oh my goodness, it was so thank you. So yes, where can everybody find you more and more of you, and find out how they can work with you, etc., etc., etc.?
So my website is marilise-de-villiers.com.
Yeah.
But you can drop me an email. So marilise@marilise-de-villiers.com.
Okay, so we're going to put that in the chat afterwards. So, will you do? Yeah.
It's a lot of dashes there. And obviously my name is not the easiest to spell, so we'll do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my book is available on Amazon. I'm actually about to launch the audio version of it.
Yes!
Which I have read myself.
Yes! Oh my God, that's amazing.
So watch this space. You can find me on social media. I am on LinkedIn. I am on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So if you want to connect with me, there's hundreds of ways that you can connect with me. I look forward to hearing from you.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for the generosity of heart. Thank you for your kindness, you know, showing up here, giving us your time, you know, helping to elevate frequency, talking about the mind, talking about those thoughts, those feelings, those actions, those words. That's from you. We're going to remember that today. People are going to be able to walk away with the thoughts, feelings, actions, words. How am I showing up in each of those places? I think that's just really important message to leave behind. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Take care, everybody.
A wonderful Christmas.
Have a wonderful Christmas. I'll be back here tomorrow. I'm going to be back here tomorrow, aren't I? It's tomorrow. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Oh my gosh, I've got another author with us tomorrow for Christmas Eve. I've got Saida coming tomorrow. Amazing. So she's going to talk all about influence, I think.
He's amazing, everybody. Don't miss it.
But you'll see us here tomorrow anyway, around 6 p.m, anytime between 4 to 6 p.m. I think it's going to be 6 p.m. tomorrow, but we look forward to being with you tomorrow. So take care, and Merry Christmas. Bye.
Take care.